Another way to get your site plan, especially if you don't have an exact drawing or something, you can basically trace it, right? So what needs to happen then is to find or scan an image of your site plan. So first of all, we have that site plan here for us. So we'll in our class drive. So we'll say copy, and then copy it onto whichever folder that your project is in. So mine is in ARC 16 Winter Project Demo, I believe. Nope, it's in this guy right here. This is where my drawing exists. I want to put that image in that folder. Okay, so now that it's in there, I can kind of relax about it. So now when I open up AutoCAD, I should just be able to say, well, one, since I am going to open that image up in AutoCAD, I am going to create a layer, and I will call it, let's see, create a new layer and call it Raster. I guess you could call it anything else, but since it's going to be like a raster image, I'm just going to say raster. And if you want, you could add a Z at the very end so that it always shows up at the end, whatever, right? Change the color. I'm going to change mine to red because I can kind of see that better. Okay, so raster layer is on there. Okay, and if I want, I guess I could even say it should be on a non-print layer. However, I'm just going to leave it as is right now and make this the current layer. Okay, so now that I am on the raster layer as a current layer, I'm going to import or insert that image that I just copied over. Okay, so attach, and then I am going to look for that image, and again it was in here, so it's this subprop skew JPEG. Okay, and I'm going to open it, and once I do that, it'll come across another dialog box that says attach image. This part is very, very important. Okay, that's your file name. That's all right. If it's not the file that you want, you could click on here and browse for more images. So you get a preview of the thing, so that's kind of helpful. Right here where it says path type, mine says no path. Yours might say full path or relevant path. Usually I think the default out of the box AutoCAD will be full path. If you have this, change it to no path. Okay, what that means is that with no path, as long as your referenced file is in the same folder as your drawing file, it will always open up. Okay, if you've been rushing it and put full path on there, that means that, let's say you took this file home to work on, right? Yeah, you were working on it at school right here, it looks fine, it works fine, great, the image shows up, I can use it, but then you take the file home. You took the drawing file and you took the image file with you. Okay, however, how it says full path, it is going to look for that image file in your X drive. Okay, because your document is probably saved in the X drive, right? And so in your home computer, it's going to say, okay, I'm looking for the X drive, and hey, there's no X drive here. And it's not going to do anything. It's just going to sit there and just, right? So, so what I want you to do is to make sure that it always says no path, so that as long as your image is in the same folder with the drawing file, it will always open up. It'll find it, you know, it'll search in that directory, and that's it. Okay, so scale on screen is, I guess, fine, because it's going to be we don't exactly know what the scale is. Right now, all we know is that this is on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which, since AutoCAD is one-to-one scale or full scale on the model space, you know, it's going to be this really tiny speck of an image there. So after you set everything up, no path, specify on screen is fine. A rotation, we'll just keep it as that, and then say OK. You can click into any space, and you'll see that you get this little window here. And that is that image file that you have. Okay, so get it to about the size of your previous site plan that you drew, because it's going to be close to that. And there it goes. Okay. One thing I did forget to do is to change the units. So let me do that right now. Units, surveyors. I'm not a surveyor, so okay. Okay, so now I have this image on here. I know that this is supposed to be about this size, correct? Yes. However, if I measure this thing, measure from here to here, which is supposed to be 51 feet, it tells me that distance is 25'6" and 23/30 of an inch. Okay, and it's cockeyed, right? This should be a straight line, but it is not. It's skewed. Okay, so as soon as you get an image into your drawing working file, you are going to correct all those anomalies. Okay, what I like to do, and not everybody does this, is to use the graphic method. Okay, because some people can just rotate this thing without referring to any other lines or what. You know, just using the computer keystrokes, and that's perfectly fine with them. I don't trust myself because sometimes I can't click on the exact space that I really want to click on. Okay, so the mouse is not my friend sometimes. Okay, so for the first step, step 1, draw a line and then get close to a point that I know as much as possible. Right now, this line right here, I zoom in far enough and I could go into about the midpoint of this line, right? Okay, so I click in there. And then I'm going to turn on my ortho F8 and make sure that this is locked into the ortho so that I can draw a straight line. So I'll draw a straight line, something like that. Enter. So now I know that I have to rotate this thing to about that many degrees. Okay. Next step I'm going to do is to call up the rotate command. Rotate, select the image. Now the image, I can't select this thing just anywhere, but I can select it at the edge. Okay, that is because this image is acting like a piece of paper in your computer, right? You can't pick up a piece of paper from the middle. You can only pick it up from the edge when it's on like the table or something, right? So it works just like the same way. So I selected this image, and if when I finish selecting that image, I'm going to say enter. So that way I've finished selecting everything. Now, the first prompt asked me specify base point. So 1, I need to specify the base point. So my base point is going to be at the end point of the line that I drew. Okay. Click. Next, it's telling me specify the rotation angle. Do I know the rotation angle? Do I know how many degrees this is turned?
No, sir.
No, sir. Thank you. So what I'm going to say is reference. So R for reference. You could click into that or type in R, enter, and it'll say reference. So now it says specify the reference angle. What I then need to do is to specify this line, and I do that graphically again by selecting that first base point, right? That first point that I got to, and I have this line to help me out that I am selecting just at that point. And then the next when I click on that, the next thing that AutoCAD asks me is specify the reference angle. So if I go to, let me take my ortho off. If I go to this line right here, right, because that's the reference angle that I'm going to create, get right in there, right in the center of the line, because I selected the center of the line on the other side too, click. And when I do that, the next thing that AutoCAD asks me is to specify the new angle or point. So what I need to do is to select the endpoint or somewhere along this line and click on that. Basically it's asking me, okay, what do you want the new angle to be? First I selected the angle where it's at. Now what do I want the angle to be? So when I do that, it basically rotated my drawing so that now it is a straight line. Okay, so now I can get rid of this line because I don't need it anymore. Another thing is that we know that our property is supposed to be this big. Right now our image is this big, right? So what I need to do then is to scale this drawing up. Okay, so do I exactly know how big this is? Not really. So here is a graphic scale that says that this point is 0, this point is 50, so 0 to 50 feet. So that's a good indication of how I can, reference this graphic scale to make this thing into its 1-to-1 scale, right? Or if I did not have this, but I knew that this line right here was supposed to be 51 feet, then I could go ahead and use this actual drawn line. Okay, so again, I am going to do this the graphic way, which is I'm going to select a line tool, and again I'm going to go to that base point right there, right smack in the middle of that line, turn on my ortho so that I can draw a line straight down. Okay, next I'm going to copy that line, CO for copy, select that line, go from that endpoint. I still have my O-snap on, so I don't have to worry about that too much. And then here, right about the middle of that point there, diagonally in the middle is what I'm going to assume to be the 51 feet. Okay, the distance between that is supposed to be 51 feet. What is that? Distance, right now it says again 25 feet 5 foot, oh, I'm sorry, 25 foot 5 and 23rd over 32nd. So what I need to do is to scale this drawing so that this line right here can be 51 feet. Some people just do this without the next part that I'm going to do, but I'm going to do it just to show us graphically what it's supposed to be. So next I'll say offset, OF for offset. The distance that I want is 51 foot. Okay, and select the first line and bring it over on this side. Okay, so now I know that this line is supposed to be scaled up to this point. So this versus this. Okay, so my next command is going to be scale. So scale is here up on the modify, or SC, I believe. SC is the shortcut for scale. Okay, what am I going to scale? I'm going to scale my image. What else am I going to scale? Nothing else. That's it. So enter. AutoCAD asked me what, well, basically specify my base point. My base point is going to be where I started off, this point right there. And then next, AutoCAD is asking me specify the scale factor. Is this 2 times, or is this 3 times, or 4 times, or 1.2 times, or 1.5 times? Don't really know, right? Of course, it was almost 2 times as big, but it was a little bit off, right? So I'm just going to say, okay, I'm going to refer to my reference. So R for reference. And then it's asking me, what is the reference length? So it's asking me, what do I want to use as the length that I'm going to stretch? So I'm going to come to this point, to that point, right? So back to the base point again, to this point. That's asking me right now, what's the second point? So there is my second point, right? So that's the length that I'm gonna stretch. So now, now AutoCAD is asking me, what is the new length? So notice that this is stretching out. Notice that since I have this guide on right there, I can click on right there. Or if you want, you could actually type in 51 feet right here. However, I'm just going to rely on my graphic method because I know that I offset this 51 feet. Some people think that this might be the long way to do it, but for me, I feel a little bit more comfortable doing it this way. Okay, so there, I've expanded or scaled this up so that now if I check distance from here to here, it is 51 feet. So this is another way that I can get an image and rotate it and scale it to my one-to-one size, right? So I could get rid of this now because I don't need that. And that is it for this thing right here. Now, next thing, I'm going to go back to my property line. So see prop. And then I could go ahead and, if I was being rough about this thing, I could just go and click, 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 if I did not have any of these numbers on here, right? So I'll just get it as close as possible to my drawing, and I guess that's going to have to be good enough for that. However, since I do have those dimensions, I will go ahead and actually say line and get to that point and then draw a line actually at 51 foot, comma 0, right? And that's my point right there. And then this line right here, I know that it is 75 feet, so I'll say line, okay, at 0, comma 75 feet. Boom, there I have that line, right? So I have that 90-degree line right there because I know that this is supposed to be 90 degrees. If you don't, then SOL. Okay, so this line right here, it's supposed to be 91.25 feet, right? But this angle, do I really want to type it in? If I don't, how would you do it?
Move it.
Move it? You got to move it, move it. What do you mean?
Like you make the line length and then you just bring it into the point.
Okay, that's good. But we need to get these two lines, so if we say circle at, this one was what? 91 foot, or 91.25 feet, right? And then I go to another circle. This one right here is going to be 75 foot, 75.75 foot. Enter. And now I have that intersection right there, which means that I can draw a line from there to the intersection to the end point of that, and I am done. Okay, so that is another way to get the get a property definition. Now I have here, as a property line, I have my line type as continuous. We did deal with line type, did we not? No? We did line weight. Okay, so today we're going to cover line type. Okay, so let's hold off here for now to let you guys catch up.